money.
Well, we'll promote it a bit.
I hope so. And he's going to, they're going to buy up the John Pertwee series and
Yes.
Trial of Time Lord.
That's a waste of time. I don't want to buy that.
I know.
No.
But we're hoping maybe the year after that we'll be able to pick up the older episodes.
Yes.
And probably they're trying to find shows that I don't know. I very much agree on, you know, that everybody says all the early shows are so boring.
Not
Let me
brilliant.
stick you a Troughton episode in.
You've never seen The Mind Robber.
I love the Mind Robbers. That and the Dominators are my two favorites.
The Dominators?
Shown again tomorrow, apparently.
The Dominators is one of the dullest shows I've ever seen.
I think so too. They kept on. It underran the script, and they kept on having to write new scenes. And all they could think of was that the Dominators kept on saying, "We've got to conserve the power."
Yes.
And they must have said that about 20 times. I always remember that.
Really, the best moment in the Dominators, I think, was your closing. I mean,
what are you doing then?
At the end, where you're pretty much slapping yourself on the back, saying, "Don't worry, Jamie. The explosion will only be a regional explosion. It'll only affect the island." Maybe that's so, but we're still on the island. Oh my word!
Ready, boss?
Yeah, I'm ready. They're still coming in.
A couple stragglers.
We ran that for our.
It's only,
I gotta
wait
state
another
club.
couple of minutes.
We ran
I
that
got a
for our
pitcher of
state
water for
club,
you.
and they
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
That was one of the funniest moments, I think.
I would like to see that tomorrow. I think I should go in and watch that. I haven't seen the Dominators since I did it 20 years ago.
Well, what we'll do is that we'll just walk down around the back over there. Or do you just want
I'm
to
going to walk
center?
down the front.
Good idea.
I ain't going to come down the front. I'm going to walk around the back.
Well, I'll tell you what. I heard that Pertwee was going to surprise you on stage.
That'll be the day. That'll be the day.
Oh, how do you want me to cut this off at 4 o'clock? Just tell them last question.
How?
At 4 o'clock, it's supposed to be shut.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, see how it's going. I mean, that'll be right.
Okay.
Why not? You think I'm going to play this, don't you?
Even if you don't, it looks good.
Good God, I remembered it. Yes. I didn't play that. I haven't played this thing for years. I lie. I played that in a show, I remember. A Dalek one.
We tried to build a Dalek, it didn't work.
Really?
The humidity in Florida kept getting to it.
Really? I tell you what, let's have it down here. The hell with them. Much nicer down here.
The poor people are paid.
No, let's do it down here. It's nicer.
You ready to start, sir?
I've been ready for hours. I'm quite happy.
Okay. You take one arm and I'll take the other and we'll carry him up there in the chair.
Give him the money. Give him the money. Well, there's 100 people there now. There's 100 people there. So that's quite enough. We don't want any more. Shut the door. Keep them out.
There isn't the darn doors this time.
Keep them out. We don't want any more. Oh.
It's all right, I've got telephoto.
That's what Richard Franklin did.
Who's he?
Whose teeth?
Come on then. Come on. Where is he?
My personal favorite, Patrick Troughton.
want to ask a question, actually, it won't be necessary, really. You want to ask if you respect for a It's a bit tall, isn't it? Tall for the likes of me. Good. Let me sit down. Stay. Hello. Can you hear me without the mic?
No, I'll use it then. That's fine. Now, when you want to ask questions, in, about half an hour's time, just come up there and talk into the mic. So, what happened to the weather? This was a forecast of lovely sunny weather.
It's to welcome you to make
Oh, I see. Yeah. Right. Good. Well, I'm here to answer questions. So, you better answer. For a start, hands up people who've actually seen me at this show. Everybody nearly, oh, that's a great help anyway. And they're going to show some of my shows tomorrow. And I'm going to watch them because I haven't seen them for 21 days. To remind me how to answer these questions. And see the Dominators and the War Games. And the Seas of Death, I think, I'm not sure. Which is kind of like, that's a jolly good one. But the one I like very much was Space Pirates. And most of that is gone, unfortunately. It's a very good one, that. Very enjoyable. Right, folks. Who would like to kick the ball out, boat out, or the ball off, as they say, and ask me a question? Don't all jump. Okay, hold on, I want to ask a question. Hello there, how are you?
I'd like to know. Yeah. What happened to that white with white hairdo you had last year?
What happened to that white hair?
Yeah, weren't you a little bit taller?
Well, I had my hair dyed last year.
Okay.
Was anyone here last year to see that strange white hair I had? No. I was doing a situation comedy called The Two of Us for London Weekend Television with a chap called Nicholas Lyndhurst, who I hope you've seen over here because he's brilliant, young comedian. And I play his granddad. I've played granddad parts now all the time, I think. And when they saw me on the screen, they thought I did the golden hour. So they had to dye my hair white. It was full of silver grey. It's very eminent and very nice. I like it. But it grew out in about 2 or 3 months, so I'm working on it. So that's what happened to my hair. And I've got to have it dyed again in July, because I'm doing some more of this. That's a situation comedy for the two of us. And it's got to be dyed again. But at the moment, I'm going to do I'm going to be in Vanity Fair by Thackeray. Mm-hmm. Has anyone read that here? Yes, it's read. Yeah, when I got the part, I thought, well, I better read the book. And I read the first 2 pages. It's about that thick. And I thought, I can't read this. I'll just read my own part and hope for the best. And then I thought, well, I better. And I started to read it, and it's wonderful. I couldn't put it down. It took 3 weeks to read. I couldn't put it down. It's terrific. And I'm playing the wicked Lord Stay, whom Becky Sharp uses to climb up the social ladder. And he becomes her lover. Or does he? You know, anyway. She teases him along, and he loads her with jewels and all the rest of it and money. It's a lovely part, and it's nothing like me at all. He's got a receding chin, he's bald, except for ginger hair around here. He's got buck teeth. So I've been practicing how to do it. And he's 83, well that's easy because I'm not yet 83. And I've been practicing what sort of voice to do. I would come up with something like this. See, I'm going to play it like that. And I'm going to have a bladder on my head and a wig, and I shall look bald, and I have a big orange moustache, give me the look that my chin has receded. And I'm playing like that. He's the richest man in England, the most powerful man in England. And also I've decided that rich and powerful men never blink. I don't know if you've noticed, but ordinary people, you know, when they're talking, they blink quite a lot. And it takes away from that sort of steely conviction which these people have. So I'm going to try not to blink the entire time, which is very difficult in a television studio because the lights are so bright. Well, somebody asked a question. I seem to ramble on here. Yes, gentlemen. Right.
I've heard a lot about your early shows. I've only seen a few of them. I was wondering if you could tell us what exactly happened to all the ones that are destroyed, because I've heard a lot of things, most of them are contradictory.
What happened to the ones that were destroyed?
Yes.
If I could, the question is, can I tell you what happened to the episodes that were destroyed? And the answer is no. They were just, whatever they do, they chuck them away, and the dustman took them away. It was an appalling mistake by somebody. I think it was just, you know, one of the cleaners thought he'd tidy up a bit, and he chucked them in the dustbin. I think that's what happened. And it was a terrible shame because, see, nobody in those days realised what was going to happen to Doctor Who, either in England or in this country, especially not in this country. And I just don't know. I wish somebody had told me. Perhaps they'll come to light one day. Perhaps some of the fans have got a secret. Another question, please. Come along, come along. Oh, here's one. Here's one.
You have a reputation as being a bit of a practical joker during the series. Did you ever pull one on Nicholas Court, the man who played the Brigadier?
Practical joker. Did I ever play a joke on Nicholas Courtney? No, I don't think I did. Oh, Nick Courtney, no. Yeah, you see, Nick Courtney and I, we hadn't really acted together very much in any of the stories. I think the first one, and you will put me right over this, I think the first one was the Web of Fear, wasn't it? Or was it the first Yeti one? Anyone know? Web of Fear. And I don't think I had much to do with him except call him a bloody fool all the time. I didn't have a lot of scenes with him. What was the one with the Cyberman? I think that must have been the invasion. Anyway, Nick was in that, blasting away with useless small arms at these. The most he ever brought to bear was a bazooka, I think. Oh no, in the Three Doctors he finally got round to a tank, I think, didn't he? I can't remember. Anyway, he always used to bring the least possible pressure to bear when it was most needed. What was the question? Oh yeah, Nick Courtney. Did I play a practical joke on him? I don't think I did. Most of the practical jokes, I think, were probably at the expense of Fraser Hines. And it would have been Nick and I ganging up. But what they used to do is, when I did the Two Doctors, I thought I'd had fun with Fraser, you know. It was lovely being back with him. I thought two against one, two against Colin would be great, but what happens, of course, I was the butt, which was very boring after a while, very boring. So no, I did play any practical jokes on the Brigadier, really, that I can remember. No. Any more questions? Yes, sir. Try from there.
About how much of your share of the line
question is how much of the lines in my shows, on my part, were improvisations. The answer is none, except once. Because you see, or any improvisation that we did to the script would all have happened before the producer's run. We used to have 3 days rehearsal. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and half Thursday. And on Wednesday, we had a producer's run. We showed the show to the producer, and he made notes, and he would give notes afterwards, so that we had half a day in order to put whatever he thought was wrong right the next day. What was the question? Oh yeah, the improvisation. No, what Fraser and I used to do, if we didn't like the way the script was phrased, play on words, we'd alter it before the producer's run. And if we particularly wanted something in the script which we knew the producer wouldn't like, we provided him with several other things which were totally outrageous, so you probably missed the ones we wanted. But after the producer's run, you had to keep to the script because the show is on a script which is the script which the vision mixer in the control room is going to use for his cuts. And you can't muck around with that, otherwise the whole show goes down the drain. But I did once do an improvisation on the day, which wasn't received with any enthusiasm by the producer. It was in the first Yeti one, and I'm tied up outside the monastery. Has anyone seen this as bait for the Yeti, abominable snowman? Anyone seen that? Yeah, good, that's fine. Well, you know what I mean. And I'm chained up outside, and these things come plodding along, or this one comes plodding along, and they had these silver spheres in their chests, which were homing devices. They weren't animals at all, they were machines. And they were homing on me, this particular one was. And what happened was, the actual silver sphere would go ahead of them, and in through the gates of the monastery, to where I was. And the Yeti would follow, you see, following the silver sphere. Anyhow, here comes this Yeti, following this silver sphere. And here am I, tied up outside. And he comes along, and for some unknown reason, he stops, just as he gets to me, and sort of looks in the air, listens, and he turns around, and he goes back again. And I couldn't resist it, and I said, oh, he only came back to get his ball. They didn't like that at all. The control room was blue. That was the only time I ever improvised on the show, except when one dried up. You know, when Fraser and I got muddled up with a scene or something like that. We never let on that we'd gone off the script, that we'd forgotten who the hell was saying what to who. We used to go on, you see, because when you're working with one person all the time, you get able to do that, you get able to ad-lib very easily with that person. And on one occasion, I think it was in Space Pirates, we went on and on and on for about a minute and a half, and suddenly there was a little voice from the control room saying, "What page are you on?" And we left the script about, a minute and a half ago, you know. We were just carrying on, seeing when they'd savvy. So that was fun. But normally speaking, you can't ad-lib once the script is out for the vision mixer. Because otherwise the show, all the scenes, all the shots go wrong, you see. Yes, any more? For any more? Yeah, darling, in the front there, yes. That's good. Right, what we got?
What was it like to work on the Omen with Gregory Peck?
What was it like to work on the Omen with Gregory Peck? It was great. I went up for that to play the part of the chap in the Middle East, the archaeologist, that was played by somebody else in the end. And I read the part to Richard Donner. And I said, I don't like this part much. Like, can I read the other part of the priest? So he said, yeah, read that. So I read it, and I read it, it was written in Italian. I mean, it was with an Italian accent. But I turned it into Irish, because I thought, you know, Roman Catholic priests, they're all Irish, aren't they? Anyway, I turned it to Irish, and he was he thought this was just the greatest thing. And he cast me there and there, so that was very nice. One got off on the right foot, you know. But then meeting Mr. Peck was super. I didn't know what he was like, but he's very ordinary, nice, quiet, normal guy. And anyone can talk to him, and he's got no side at all. He was lovely and very easy to act with, because he's very good, isn't he? Very natural. He has a trick. On his script, he's got, against all his speeches, well, not all his speeches, but some of his speeches, he's got N-A-R. Do you know this story?
No.
Good. Anyway, he writes down N-A-R, 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 you see. And we were going through a scene, as one does, sitting down, you know, before you start rehearsing it. And I was seeing this, and I said, what's this N-A-R business? He said, oh yeah, well that's no acting required. I said, I always put down N-A-R when I know I haven't got to act that particular speech. That was nice too. Made you feel friendly. So that was good. No, he was lovely to work with. Absolutely lovely. And it was a great privilege. And I can name drop where he's concerned now. The only other bloke I worked with was Alan Ladd in movies, you know, big movies, in the Black Knight. Anyone seen Black Knight? No. Yes, one person seen the Black Knight, 2 people. That was with Alan Ladd. He played a nice in arm, which was very unlikely. There we are. That was quite good fun too, looking back. Another question. Sir. I know where you're from. It's where I'm going. Yeah.
How do you do?
Where is it, sir? Where am I going?
Yes, well, Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, that's right. I'm going to be there in June.
Yes.
I'll see you there. What's the
Happy
question?
birthday.
Thank you very much. Yes, 2 days ago. Yeah. Thank you.
There's been so much controversy concerning, you know, the 24 season with the replacement of Colin Baker.
Yeah.
At one time, there was rumors flying rapidly that either you or John Pertwee would be replacing temporarily Colin Baker.
Yeah.
How much validity is there in these the stories I've heard?
I don't know about that. How much validity are the stories that we were approached, either John or me? John. He was approached, and I think the newspapers phoned up. I think it was the Mirror phoned both John and I. And they phoned John up saying, I understand that you're being considered, you know, one of the former doctors is being considered for replacement of Colin. What is your attitude? And John said, if I'm free, I will do it. And they asked me, and I said, I will give it serious consideration. So that's what we actually said.
Would you like to come back for another special show?
Oh, a special? Oh, yeah. But with Fraser. It has to be with Fraser, because it's not the same without him, you know. But I don't think... It was a serious consideration, I think, by the BBC, just to sort of give it an injection of something or other. I think it would have been a good idea, really. I wouldn't have done it, though. No, I don't think it's a good idea to go back. You can't really go back and say, I'm too old. I'm anyway. I look all wrong. Yes. Yes. What? The water's down. Oh, the water's down here. Hang on. Oh, lovely. Delicious. Now, somebody was going to ask me something. Darling, yes, come and ask me.
I have heard stories
Oh, dear, stories. No, I don't listen to stories. What?
that when you were appearing in The Two Doctors, that you and Colin kept playing horrible practical jokes on poor Fraser and poor Nicola. Is there any validity to those stories?
None at all, no. As I said before, it was entirely the other way around. They ganged up against me. That was my plan. Because he's so fat, and it was very easy to I don't think I was calling him Miss Piggy in those days. I did later on. But no, the other way around, I thought this will be fun, you know, Fraser and I could really. Oh no, no way. They made my life absolutely terrible. At every opportunity. I was in this wheelchair when I was being pushed around, but you can imagine what happened about that. He pushed me and suddenly, boom, and shoot up, you know, terrible. No. Is the answer? Yes. Somebody else. Sir, come and ask me a question. Come and ask me a challenging question. Religion, sex, what?
Well, on several occasions I've heard you classified as the monster doctor because they thought of, really seriously, because they talked about how they thought of some really classic monsters for you. They had several very good Cyberman episodes, and the Yeti and the Ice Warriors and two Dalek classics. But what is your favorite monster?
Oh, I can answer that straight away. Androgon.
What?
An Androgon. Don't you know the Androgon? In The Two Doctors. Because I turned into one. That's why I liked it. I got the taste of human flesh. It's delicious. Absolutely delicious. Can't wait to be an Androgon again. Marvelous. They lost my eyebrows on that. We went to Spain for the filming. Seville. We were going to come to New Orleans. Yeah, you know all this, don't you? It's all stale. Never mind. We were going to come to New Orleans, and the money went wrong, something went wrong. So we went to Seville, and they had to travel with girls, and ginger eyebrows for me and for John. And they lost them all. We got there to Seville, and they'd all gone. They were flying around Spain on various airlines. So, I had 3 glorious days lying around the pool while they rejigged the filming schedule and waiting for a new lot to come on. That was nice. Just sort of by the way, really. What was the question? I can't remember now. Oh yeah, Androgon. Yes, I want to be an Androgon. I've always wanted to be a monster. I want to be a monster in the new Doctor Who, so that nobody knows it's me. I'd love to be. You know that great big one in the Muppets with the huge square teeth and the enormous head? That's
Sweetums.
I want to be that. I'm good at monsters. So, any more questions? Yes. Come on up, darling. Come on down. Come on up. Yeah?
Your character as the Doctor is really quite different from the first Doctor. Whose decision was that, and why did they make a big change there?
Yes, that's a good question. My character as the Doctor is very different from Billy Hartnell. Whose decision was that? And how did it come about? Well, it's interesting now because I've just been reading in the Whovian Times, you know, the magazine of the Fan Club of America, an interview with Sidney Newman. Anyone read that?
No, they don't mail them out anymore.
Oh, I'm wrong. Never mind. Anyway, there's a long interview with Sidney Newman, and he says all sorts of things I can't remember. But anyway, apparently, when I was asked to do it, there was a sort of conference, you know, a production meeting, and I was there, and they sent me this script, and it was absolutely appalling. The character of the Doctor it's a change from Billy Harmon. I mean, Billy was sort of fussy and old and forgetful and all the rest of it. But this read like Basil Rathbone doing Sherlock Holmes, if you can imagine. It was, he never stopped talking. It was all rather involved and pedantic style, a terrible pedantic style. And I looked at this and I thought, no way am I going to do something like this for 3 years. I couldn't begin to learn the lines in 2.5 days anyway. So I thought, what the heck am I going to do? I'm caught. Anyhow, I put my spoke in and I said, I've read this script and I feel very strongly that Doctor Who, as I want to do it, is a man who doesn't talk very much, he listens, you see. And he listens and sums everything up, and when everyone else has done all the talking, he'll put in some comment and act on that. And then he thought, oh, well, that's interesting, yeah, that's a good idea. And then Sidney Newman heard that I objected very strongly to this script and style. And he came up with this idea of playing it sort of Chaplinesque as this cosmic hobo. And I welcomed it with open arms. I thought, well, that saved me, because it's just the sort of way I want to play it. I can relax in the part instead of this awful, pedantic, dreadful thing they'd written. And so that's the way we played it. And that's the answer to the question, really. Yes. Any more? It was very lucky, though, because I would have been absolutely sunk if I'd had to learn all that lot. Well, 2.5 days, you know. You get the script on Sunday, you read it on Monday, you rehearse it on Tuesday and Wednesday, and half a day Thursday, then you're on. Well, I need 10 days or a thing like that. And we did it for 3 years every Saturday, so it was quite a thing. Yeah? Yeah. No, I just started to do it once or two. So, one more question. I usually sit down for these, for mine.
When you were doing the show, did you ever have a script or a production scene at the time that went terribly wrong, with cameras going every which way, or a monster that didn't work?
Not that I can remember. No, the question is, did we have a script where on the day, presumably, everything went wrong, monsters didn't work, and that sort of thing? I don't think so. Most of the tricky stuff was done on film, you see. We used to do it on telecine in black and white, the actual show in the studio. But the special effects were mostly done on film, which we used to do at Ealing Studios as a separate thing. Before we used to do that on weekends. That was our weekends, you know, we didn't get time off. Anyhow, to begin with. And so it was easier to do. There was less possibility of things going wrong when you're doing it on film. You know, you've got it in the can and that's that. But there were occasions in the studio where monsters caught fire. I remember Cyberman catching fire. They had, I think one Cyberman had to be shot at, or something like that, and destroyed. And they had special effects in his chest. And before the moment came, he started smoking. And the poor man, he was getting hotter and hotter, and they had to drag him out of his panic station. That was very nasty, that. That happened a couple of times. You have to be very careful. It's very difficult to get out of those Cybermen costumes in a hurry. Don't think they're even zipped up. I think once you're in it, you're in it. So that was quite alarming, really. But that's the only time I can really remember. As I say, most of them were on film, so that those sort of things wouldn't happen. Yes. Come along up. You want to ask me a question? You want to go outside? Okay, darling. Anyone else? Yeah. So. Hello. How are you?
Fine.
Good.
I wanted to know if you ever still play the recorder for pleasure, if that was something you did only for the show.
I never play the recorder for pleasure. I do play it only when it's dragged out of me at conventions.
Well, I enjoy it.
That's the answer to that question. So I think we better leave it there. My small son, aged about 7, who was at primary school, when I was rehearsing for the first episode, first story, you don't call them episodes, we call them episodes, you know, the first half-hour show. I wanted something which would relate to the kids as well as to the grown-ups. And I had this young family at the time, so I asked them for ideas. And they were both playing a recorder at school, much better than I could, incidentally. And so my son Mark, I think this has gone off, isn't it? My son Mark said, why don't you play the recorder? I said, no, I can't play the recorder. He said, I'll teach you. So he taught me the little tune that they were doing at school. It was called The Otter and the Toad, as far as I remember. Went trotting down the road. And he taught me this, and blew me down. The director thought it wouldn't be a bad idea, because, you know, we were trying to create a sort of whimsy straight away with the character to cut right away from Billy, make a contrast, which was a disaster to give because nobody really liked it. But they got used to it later on, and I got a bit better at doing it too. I don't even recall I've been playing whimsy. So I watched it in the first episode, and it came off quite well, really. But every time I played it, I had to learn this little bit I was going to do, and that was something that might have gone wrong very easily in the tape, you know. And if it did, then I'd have to do it again. But I'm glad it was asked me to play it, because they don't want me to play it. No, go right. It so happened. And I would say, at great expense, the first tune that I had to play, and it was just as frightening then as it is now. So here we go. It went something like this. Ready? Thank you. Don't ask me to do that. Another one? Another question. Oh, that went rather well. Usually you're fluffing that one. Yes, sir. Come up and ask a question.
Sir.
Yes.
Professor Wagstaff's time machine. You had sideburns out to here. Were these real or were they pasted on?
That wasn't me. That wasn't in.
Was that you?
No, not Wagstaff. No, that was, I think that was, certainly wasn't mine. Not one of my stories. Oh, I beg your pardon. Oh, I remember that. Yes. That was a little film that we made for school children in England. And for some reason it's travelled all over America. I didn't think it was very good. Did I? No, I can't remember whether I grew that. I might have done. Did I really have sideburns and things? Oh yeah, yeah. I'm going to have all that again. Those Lord stay around the house. No, I can't remember growing up, but I probably stuck up. Good heavens, have you seen that over here? Weird. That was really weird. Any more questions? You've asked one. Yeah. You have one in there? Yes. You can't ask a question. My daily rate on videos, I'll let you know. Yeah.
When you took over the part as Dr. Dewey and you were the first actor after Lee Martin, a lot of people didn't know how the show would go. How did you think it would?
I thought it would be a disaster. How did I think the show would go when I took it over from Billy Hartnell? I really thought it would only last about 6 weeks. I didn't think it would work, the idea of another actor taking over the part and not imitating Billy in the way that Dickie Herndon imitated him in The Five Doctors. I didn't see how it could work. I didn't think one could sell it to the audience, the sudden change. I had great difficulty in selling it to Annika and Mike Craze. It was terrible. It's taken out wrong. But no, I didn't think it would last. I thought 6 weeks and that would be it. But they kept on, when they asked me to do it over the phone, I was in Ireland doing a film, The Viking Queen. They kept on phoning up, saying, we want you to play Doctor Who. I said, no, I don't want to play Doctor Who. No, no. And they kept on phoning up. And all the week they phoned up. And all the week, every time they phoned, the money went up. And they bribed me into it, really. It was just a bribe. And in the end, I went to my wife, she looked at me, and we thought, well, we can educate the children on this. What are we doing? Let's do it. So I did it. But I thought it would last about 6 weeks. And I think it was touch and go at the beginning. I think, because you see, I decided to make a big break from Billy, to say to the audience, as it were, look, this is how I'm doing it. And you either like it or you leave it, you see. And it was touch and go for a while. But after a while, I sort of toned it down a bit and made it a bit more in the head, you know. Sydney Newman was all for me tumbling around like Charlie Chaplin, which I can't do like him, obviously. He was a genius, and it's not the same if just an ordinary actor goes tumbling around, tries to be funny. So in the end, I did it in the head, and it worked much better, and the audience began to like it, and then they began to love it, and that was it, which was lovely. But to begin with, I thought, no way, 6 weeks, curtains. Yes, any more? Yes, you. Lovely blonde lady.
I would like to know what upcoming film and television projects you do.
Sorry, put the mic on it.
Do you have any upcoming film or television projects to be shown in America or in?
Yeah. Do I have any television projects to be shown in America? Yes, I think so. What? Well, there's a lovely serial called Yesterday's Dreams, which we did for Central Television, which was a lovely, lovely story. A sort of love story. A couple who were divorced, and would they get together again after 5 years, or wouldn't they? It was one of those, you know, and I played the granddad as usual, an old farmer up in the Peak District. There's a beautiful story, and if it comes over here, you will like it because it's beautiful. And then there's this thing called The Knights of God, which we haven't seen in England yet, because it's been put off till the autumn, I think. So you probably, I have a feeling it's already in America. Anyone know about that? Knights of God? No. Well, I did hear that it's going to be shown in America before it's shown over here. So, you may see it. And that is a long adventure story set in England in the year 2020. But it's not science fiction. There's been a civil war in England, and a horrible military dictatorship called the Knights of God have taken over. And there's this sort of Hitler-type character who is the dictator, and I play the freedom fighter, who is incidentally named Arthur, and the baddie is named Mordred, so it's a sort of link up with the Arthur story. It's very good, and very exciting, and I think you're going to get it sooner than we do, so look out for that one. And you might get the two of us, the situation comedy with Nicholas Lyndhurst, which we did in the autumn, and I think that's coming over. And that's lovely. It's a nice sort of friendly boy and girl. They live together, and the boy wants to get married, and the girl doesn't want to get married yet, you know that. And the boy keeps on coming to me to ask for advice, and I give him what advice I can. So that's going to be good too. So those are the two things, I think. Maybe 3. And then of course you'll get Vanity Fair, which we haven't started. Well, they're halfway through shooting, but I don't join it till Wednesday. What's the day today? Friday. I join it on Wednesday in England.
That's April Fool's Day.
Pardon?
That's April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day, she points out. Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Yeah. Anyway, we do the first reading of the last 5 episodes then, and it'll all be cooked by, well, we finish shooting on July the 21st, and it should be edited, I should think, by about October, November, and you should get it over in your masterclass. What's it called?
Masterpiece Theatre.
Yeah, that. Yeah. That'll come there, I think. It's one of the BBC classics, you know. So, that's another thing you're going to get. So, ain't you lucky? Any more questions? One more question. You want to ask a question? Come to mine. You want to ask a question? He says, one more question. What is it?
How did you feel?
He's going to ask a question.
He is going to ask a question.
Yeah.
How did you and the other actors who played Doctor Who feel about Tom Baker not being with the Final Doctors?
When did you stop being your wife? Yeah. Well, how did we feel about it? Oh, I thought it was wrong. We'd have liked to have him with us, but I think he was busy, you know. I have a feeling he was doing a stage play. And also there was the thing that he hadn't been out of it very long, and he was trying to lose the image, because he was in it, what, 7 years. And it's a tricky business coming out of that sort of situation and breaking back into television again, you know. So the best thing to do is to go back to the stage, really, unless you're lucky. I was lucky, thank God, I hate the stage. Anyway, yes, we were sad, really. Although he was in it, you know, they used a clip, didn't they, which hadn't been actually shown on BBC television, with him in a punt on the river, something like that. And then we took some wicked photographs, or the press did, of his effigy from Madame Tussauds. The photos that you would have enjoyed seeing were the ones they didn't publish. That was lovely. Paul's kneeling down, kissing his hand, you know. That was great. So, yeah, it was a pity, but to give him his due, he was trying to lose the image, and he didn't want to keep it going, you know. He wanted to break away and start carving out a career for himself again. So there it was. That was a good question. I like that question. Is that the lot then? I believe that's the lot. How disappointing. Never mind. Well, I've got another one tomorrow, haven't I? Yes, sir. 5 o'clock. Yes, sir. Good. I like doing this. Right, thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Troughton. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, in case you're interested, anything that is being held in the amphitheater today will be held in this hall.
Thank you very much. Yay! Yeah. What's he saying? Hello. I'll send in my bill later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Yes, okay. What? On the panel?
Also, if you would like to visit the comics panel, they'll be in here at 4 o'clock. There's also...
You should be in 3 days anyway. Should be. Yeah, I'll be around, don't worry. Because the number's getting me. Sorry. Because they're going to be fencing. Yes. Fencing, that's for I would choose yes, I will. Let me just sit down. And then I'll do a whole panel, you know, I'll sit down and do a whole lot. Mr. Troughton, yes, I'll move back out to the main lobby. Yeah, I'll go back to the main lobby and do it. Okay. Otherwise, I'll get a cup of tea on the way too.
That's my own private pen, man.
You don't need it.
My own special color of ink. Where you going?